Okay, today is Tuesday, March 23rd, and this is the Committee of the Whole meeting. I was almost going to gavel, but I shouldn't. This is the Committee of the Whole meeting for the board, and tonight we have one topic we're going to be discussing, which is the recreational cannabis sales in the community. We did receive a recommendation, a majority recommendation from the JPZ committee. Trustee Prochnow is chairman of the committee. Received that a couple weeks ago. We received the finding of fact from the JPZ committee. And just so residents understand, JPZ committee had two meetings,
Yes, we did.
two public meetings that was handling it. We have received many documents, many opinions, many facts, whether is it a, what do they call that, a drug that, what do they call it when,
Bridgeway drug?
a bridge phone, what else they say?
Bridgeway?
Gateway.
Gateway.
A gateway, thank you, Chief Walsh. A gateway drug, we found reports on that, whether the impact in other communities that have been selling around here, police issues in other communities if there's any, so in other states, what's going on. We received a lot of information on it. And what we're gonna look at tonight, well, one thing that did come from JPZ committee at police recommendations and staff recommendation is the recommendation that if we do allow cannabis sales in Elk Grove, or marijuana, it's easier for me to say, marijuana sales in Elk Grove, is they would be located in the industrial park area of the village, not in the residential area. So it won't be in the residential shopping centers or, anywhere in that area. So it'll be designated areas there. Now, just so everyone knows, we have never received a formal proposal from any company looking to sell marijuana in Elk Grove. No one's ever formally approached us. We've had brief inquiries. Hey, what do you think about, hey, would you ever consider, where would you want to, that stuff. Well, we always said, if you truly want to come to Elk Grove, give us a proposal, what you think about, where you want to go, size bill, and what you're thinking. No one's ever done it. Now, they could have been waiting for us to make a decision, or maybe they don't have an answer, we don't know. But it's an issue that we need to address like everybody else is addressing over time. Some I know have changed their mind, some were out of it, now going into it. People like the idea of the money. So again, money's nice, but we as a board don't base our decisions on, boy, we can make money. There's a lot of ways you can make money, but not always best interest of a community to make it. We base on if it's good for the community, if it meets the needs of the community, and meets the needs of certain people. That's why several years ago, we allowed a medical marijuana growing location here, cultivation center here in Elk Grove. Ironically, it's on Greenleaf, just by chance. But they've been here for now several years. Last year, Mr. Garber made, about 175,000?
That was over a 2-year period.
Over a 2-year period, we made it, well, it's growing though. So we got 175,000, plus they donate some money to some of our civic groups, which is good. I mean, we're not gonna shy away from the money, that was good for the village. So that went well. So again, tonight, the committee's made a recommendation that we allow it in the designated areas. And we were gonna open up to public comment. Public person, we have Mr. Petzo, do you want to comment on this, or no comment?
I already voted once today.
Okay, very good. So, this is our chance to hear from the public tonight. I know at both your meetings that you had in the committee, Trustee Prochnow, no one showed up to give input.
No one attended.
And tonight was a chance, I know it's in the press, it was public record, we know, or posted it. And I know Tom Robb, who's here tonight, did a story, mentioned our meeting tonight. So it's been out there in the public. But with that said, now I think it's more of a chance for the board to discuss amongst ourselves as far as our thoughts, concerns, ideas, support, whatever. We can discuss it tonight and take it from there. So what thought I would start off with, since Trustee Prochnow, under her chairmanship, brought it to the committee and then to the board. Trustee Prochnow, if you want to, I'll let you go ahead first if you'd like to.
Okay, thank you. The reason this came to the board was back in November during the election, we had a non-binding referendum that the residents were able to vote on, asking if we should allow the sale of recreational marijuana within our community. The results showed 63.4% of our residents believed that they were in favor of permitting the sale of recreational cannabis, and 36.6 were opposed. So we took that as a strong recommendation that the members of our community were interested in having that type of sale. We had 2 meetings of the JPZ committee, 2 lengthy meetings, and we had 3 members, Trustee Feichter and Trustee Frankie also served on that committee. And we had some lively discussions. We're presented with, as the mayor said, a ton of information from staff on the pros, the cons, locations, requirements for building within the community. And at the end of those 2 meetings, the vote was 2-1 from our committee, Trustee Frankie and myself voting in favor of, and Trustee Feichter voting opposed. And for that, we brought it to the full board for their discussion, consensus, opinions, and vote.
Thank you, Trustee Prochnow. Trustee Prochnow brought up a good point, the voters. We put this out for public input, and one of the reasons we put it on the November election was knowing it was going to be a presidential election year, we knew it was going to be a big vote turnout. So we truly could get a big cross-section of this community's input on recreational marijuana. We have a village election going on right now, but we know maybe 1,000 people, 2,000 people might turn out, whereas this election in November, we had about 18,000 voters from Elk Grove. And out of 24,000, that's quite a big turnout, almost 75%. So we truly got a big cross-section, which is helpful to us. Again, the vote that people took in November is a recommendation. It's not a binding referendum. But we wanted their input because we put a lot of credence behind what the residents have to say. So, we appreciate it. And that's a pretty overwhelming majority,
Yes,
a
it is.
2-1 majority. That's a pretty big margin. It's not like it was 51-49. So that puts a lot of weight in decisions. Well, I want to start with the committee members first. Trustee Frankie, do you want to go ahead and if you want to make any kind of comments?
Well, when you said vocal, I was probably one of the most vocal, but it's not really, to me, this isn't really about how we feel about marijuana. Obviously, well, I'll be honest, I don't use it. I don't intend on using it, but it's legal and it's around us. So somebody could buy in Arlington Heights and come back into Elk Grove with it and still use it. So it's not like we're going to be able to stop anybody from using it. The point too about the money, it's not about the money, but it's always good to get whatever money we can get for the future. But if we don't have somebody come and want to sell, that's fine too. My whole major thing on this is that we don't ask the people a lot of questions. They put us up here to make decisions, and we do most of the time. But when we ask them, I believe that we need to listen to them. And like you said, it was not close. It was 10,600 for it and 6,000 something against it. So I think we need to follow what the people say and approve it. And I want to thank staff also. They went and dug up all the information we were looking for on any kind of issues there might have been in other towns that are all around us that are selling it, and it seems like these facilities really, it's not like a corner where somebody's stepping out and selling you something and running back in. So I think that we should listen to the people and go along with this, and of course all the strict guidelines that we put together with this. I think it'll keep the village safe and we won't have any issues.
Very good, thank you. The final member of the committee was Trustee Feichter. Trustee Feichter, your input, your ideas?
Okay, I looked at this issue really hard. This was an important thing to me to try to make the right kind of decision on what I felt was the right thing for Elk Grove Village. And one of the things that we have stood for in the last several years is the program called Elk Grove Cares. And Elk Grove Cares is a very excellent program trying to deal with people that have developed addictions to drugs of different kinds. And we have stood very strong in this state You know, we were nominated for awards for this and received federal grants and so forth for our program. And I thought, when we're doing this, if we okay this for Elk Grove Village, aren't we really going contrary to what we really stand for with the Elk Grove Cares? You know, that was one of my things that I felt was important. Then I looked at some of the literature, and as Trustee Frankie says, we did get excellent materials from staff. And I was reading over some of the medical issues dealing with marijuana, and there are a lot of dangers in it, dangers to people that use marijuana and drive, dangers to people that it can be a gateway drug to other drugs. Well, alcohol can too, but marijuana is another one that can be a gateway drug. It also can cause problems, psychological problems, and people do get addicted to it over the years of using it. And it can kind of interfere with judgment. So I felt, looking at all these kinds of things, I thought, well, you know, I could easily say, yes, let's go along with how the vote went and vote yes for it. But I felt there was something really special about Elk Grove Village and what we do. And so I'll probably be the only one that will vote this way, but I had to vote no on it because it was a moral commitment on my part. And that is something I had to stand for. And that concludes my position.
Thank you, Trustee Feichter. We'll start with, we're down, Trustee Schmidt.
Well, I too struggled with this, and I thank staff for all of the information they gave us. I go back to my career in law enforcement, and before the DARE program, I was officer friendly in the schools, talking to kids about the dangers of drugs. And now here we are in 2021 talking about the legalization of marijuana, and I know in some states out west they're even talking about legalization of harder drugs. But when I look at this issue, I look at the fact that we allow tobacco sales in our community. And there's all kinds of literature out there about the bad effects that tobacco has on everyone. We allow alcohol sales, and yet there's a lot of information out there about the bad effects of alcohol, and people become alcoholics. Then we take a look at another issue, gambling. We have video gambling in town here, video gaming. And I was just talking to a friend of mine this week who has another friend who owns one of these gambling places in another community, and he talks about every Friday night how people come in and spend a good majority of paychecks on gambling. So we have three different things right now that people can become addicted to, and yes, we have the Elk Grove Cares program. Now we talk about marijuana. Marijuana has been deemed legal now by the state of Illinois. And, you know, I struggle with this because, and I kind of agree with Trustee Frankie, is that we're really not here to discuss the morals of it, or we're here because it is legal, and with all these other things, even though we may have our personal preferences against them, I think, but as long as we do it the right way, and if we can take some of the money, if a place ever does come into town, Mayor, that we can funnel any proceeds from that into the Elk Grove Cares program, I think it would be a little bit easier for me to accept that.
So your vote?
At this point, I struggle with this, but I probably have to say yes.
Trustee Listener.
Thank you, Mayor. I think just about everything I was going to say has been said already. And like everyone else said, I appreciate the stack of paper we got from staff. I was trying to find something in there that would make me vote no, because personally I'm against it. But as Trustee Schmidt just said, we have cigarettes, we have alcohol. I'm not going to mention gambling, but we also have some opioids and stuff floating around our stores. So I just can't find any reason to go against what the voters want. And if we could use the funds, if we do get any, if we should get a place, then we could use the funds to put it through what we feel is a good cause at the time. I wouldn't mention what it should be yet because we don't know what it'll be at the time, but as of right now, I would vote to support it.
Okay. Trustee Zarnik.
As was said, this is a very difficult decision because the morality of it is something that we are all looking at and take personally, and that should be the case. It is a personal decision. I think Trustee Schmidt put it very succinctly. We allow the other issues that can easily become addictive, and it has to be the individual's choices. Some are strong enough and some are weak, and that goes in many, many different avenues. Based on that, I would be voting yes.
Okay, obviously, it's a 5-to-1 vote at this time to move it forward, but I'd be kind of hypocritical if I didn't give my input on my view on this, especially my strong support and, kind of being the facilitator to start the Elk Grove Cares program here in Elk Grove. Remember, the Elk Grove Cares program, which I think is probably one of the proudest achievements this board has had in all the years we've worked together, is there to help people that have a problem of addiction. When we started the Elk Grove Cares program, we didn't get rid of alcohol sales in Elk Grove. When we started the Elk Grove Cares program, we didn't get rid of cigarette sales in Elk Grove. Those are two very addictive issues. We didn't get rid of video gaming in Elk Grove. Also an addictive. May not be a drug, but it's an addictive issue on people. We didn't get rid of those. What we did was, one person can have a beer, no problem. Another person has a beer and they become an alcoholic. So the Elk Grove Cares program is there when people have a problem with a substance that they become abusive with, whether it's legal or not legal. Not legal opioids, we serve people there. But believe it or not, over the past 6 months to a year, most of our people in Elk Grove Cares program is from alcohol. We've helped many alcoholics over the past several months. And that's a legal thing. So, a lot of people can have a beer or wine or a hard, mixed drink, have no problems. Some can't. So just like with marijuana, people are going to be able to take it, use it, have no problem. There might be some that have a problem. That's why Elk Grove Cares is there, for those people that have a problem with something that is perfectly legal to have. I am disappointed, as was brought up by someone, I think Trustee Schmidt, that you got now in Oregon, they're basically almost legalizing heroin and cocaine. That is one thing I'll never be supportive of, is legalizing heroin anywhere. But marijuana is Illinois is not the first state to do it. Elk Grove's not first out, obviously. So it's something there. But again, I believe Elk Grove cares so deeply. We're going on a 3-year anniversary, does good. But again, that's there for people that have a hard time controlling their use of certain products. Many of them are legal products. So I think I commend the staff and I commend the committee under Trustee Prochnow for a job well done in setting up guidelines to make it functional here in the village, to try to minimize the impact that could come out of it. They did a great job. Where it's going to be located in the industrial park, I'd have a hard time putting it in the middle of a residential area, especially near, I know it can't be too close to schools or churches, but still in the areas. I think it's good where they decide to put it. I think it's the best place to do it. One thing I'll say this, me saying I'm fine with it has nothing to do about the money. It kind of disheartened me when I saw some towns saying, well, we're against it, we don't believe in it, but we want the money. That's not the right attitude to have. If the money comes, fine. If it doesn't come, that's fine too. But if it's something that people can legally have, legally use, then it shouldn't be us to stop them from that. So if I had to make a vote tonight, I would be voting in favor of it also. But again, that doesn't mean I don't believe strongly in the CARES program. Just like I didn't shut down every liquor store in the village, we didn't stop selling cigarettes, we didn't close the gaming places. CARES program there is for people that have a problem with legal products. So with that said, what we'll do then is tonight at the board meeting, since we have a recommendation from the committee, the JPZ committee, call for the board as a whole to have the attorney prepare necessary documents for our next board meeting to adopt an ordinance allowing the sale of recreational marijuana in the community under the guidelines that were established by the JPZ committee, and we'll have a chance to review it, and if we have issues, we can talk to the attorney at that time. Or when you get a copy, draft of it, if you got problems, contact the attorney and see if we can make sure we get it all cleaned up. So any other questions or comments? Now, I know it's not easy. This, this is taking a step, that's not easy, but I want to commend the board and staff for a job well done in getting material, getting us information, anything we wanted, you found it, you got it to us, and I was shocked with some of the information I got. I thought it was more of a gateway drug than studies have shown. And all these aren't studies by marijuana companies. These are studied by other organizations, independent and all that. And I think they showed us a good history. Some states have had legal marijuana for 30 and 40 years. This is not the first time it's come out. So, it's been out there for some time, so we have some history behind it. So with that, anything else before we adjourn from Committee of the Whole?
Mayor,
Trust-
will we address this during the JPZ report?
Yeah, tonight during JPZ report, you'll say you've made a recommendation, then you'll make a motion to have the attorney prepare necessary documents. It'll be seconded, I'll call for a roll call vote, so everyone has a chance to express their view, and then the attorney will go ahead and prepare the documents for the next meeting. Now, again, it's not formally approved until it's voted on at the April 13th board meeting. So, I guess if one wants to think about it, they still have a chance, but usually, if we make a decision, Committee of the Whole, we carry it on to the board meeting as a whole, too. But I just want to make sure, people can still, it doesn't mean they voted 100% behind it tonight yet. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Mr. Knickerbocker?
We, just thinking about the ordinance and the paperwork that would be coming to the board, it would probably be under our business license, section of our code,
Okay,
licensing a, dispensary. Coming with that would be a license fee. So the board should consider, that aspect. I mean, it wasn't necessary to talk about it before because I didn't want to talk about a fee before the board made a consensus.
can staff, Ray, can you get us what most communities have done as far as fees go? Okay.
We'll incorporate that.
And then what we'll do is, I assume the board wants to take the average of what towns around here charge for fees, would that be? Now, this is just the licensing fee. Now, as far as, Mr. Romo, as far as what we collect, that's a state mandated percentage, am I correct? Yeah, so the only thing we would have any kind of wiggle room on would be the fee we charge for a license?
I believe we have an opportunity to put on we'll take a look at that as well.
Okay,
In addition to the license fee is one thing, and then there may be and I'm not quite aware of that, there may be a surcharge,
so
sales
can you
tax.
prepare an ordinance and we leave open the fee part? We can make the decision at the next board meeting,
Or I
and that
can
can
put
be
one in and you
inserted?
can change it.
Huh?
We can use a consensus, and then if the board isn't happy with that, we
No,
just
why don't
change
you
it.
get the board, because there's other potential fees, why don't you have, can we leave that open?
Sure.
And we can input it, I mean,
Sure.
can we still pass it that
Yeah.
way? Since it's already on the agenda, and there we can modify what fees we want to charge?
As long as the topic is before the board, yes, you can do that.
Okay, then we'll do that. So, if you can, Mr. Romo, if you can give us the, the range or the options we have, and the board can discuss that, at the board, we can do it at the board meeting, and then we can have that inputted into the ordinance. The board fine with that?
Am I to understand there are 2 fees involved?
There may be another fee, Mr. Romo said.
Surcharge.
Like a cert tax, not an extra sales tax.
Oh, okay, okay,
We'll look
okay.
We'll look at. So we know there's a license fee, which is true for any business
Right,
license.
right.
And then there also, like we have with video gaming, we instituted a fee per machine. Every town was different on that. So we can look at options for that. Okay. Are we fine with that? Good? Okay. Well, with that said, then we will adjourn the committee of the whole, and we'll start the board meeting in 10 minutes, on time. Very good, thank you.